Newsfirst, Newsline with Faraz Shaukat Ali on TV1.
A very good evening to you and a warm welcome to Newsline Zoom. Our guest this evening is Professor Kennedy Gunawardana, who is a senior professor of accounting at the University of Sri Java, a proud Sri Lankan product. Very good evening to you, Professor, and warm welcome to you.
Very good evening. Very good evening to you.
Thank you. Now then, obviously, the Sri Lankan economy is in a mess. Sri Lanka declared bankruptcy, last year on the 12th of April. And we've done all sorts of things, IMF program, bailout program in place, and so on. Before we get to this domestic debt optimization program, which is, everybody is talking about it, it's actually now part of the law, they've passed it, and so on. But the real question, Professor, is how did Sri Lanka end up in this position?
Yeah, very, very good question. Now, I have a different idea about this. I can't feel that we are going to end and we have to enjoy the situation as a whole after this DDO is implemented. I'm in the exactly different view. What I thought that, especially who obtained the debts, maybe the government, maybe the last government, or maybe present government. And for what purpose? They have obtained the loan for developments or some projects or something like that. Now, at last, now we don't have a money to pay the debts. Right?
Yeah.
Now we don't have a money to pay the debts. Maybe why we don't have a money to pay the debts? There are certain level of the debts, coming under the corruption level, certain level of the debts, I think it's lost. But finally, why these general public is responsible for this? I have really a doubt in my mind. I always thinking about that. Why you and me is responsible for this debt? Debts has obtained by the government for a previous government or very before previous government as well for certain projects, but they didn't use it, properly. But we are responsible now. Under this present situation, I think the innocent people who contribute to the EPF or ETF, they are the people who are responsible totally for this debt. Now, this is also not the end in the situation. Maybe the nesty also, in the mid of the nesty also, you have another restructuring program. Now, this is what, in my end, what I want to tell you, there is no end of this
Absolutely.
This
You're perfectly right, of course, because what they've done is, for example, there is evidence to show that the greatest number of ISB borrowings was done during the Yahapalane government. And for whatever reason, most of these projects don't give us a commercial return. And the borrowings are in dollars, the collection is in rupees, and they have not done anything to increase the inflow of dollars, which obviously then resulted in President Gotabaya Rajapaksa having to be in a situation where he declares that he can't bring in fertilizer. He doesn't say that he doesn't have the money. He says that we are going all organic, which is a big mistake anyway. But the point is, what is the alternative to the EPF, ETF holders, the people of our country? And the people, remember, are sovereign. So what is the alternative? What else can we do?
Yeah, it's honestly speaking, we all know that most of our funds, right, most of our, usually our parents, our fathers, mothers, and everybody, they have a kind of a ETF amount.
Yeah.
Now, this ETF fund, the ETF itself, I assume that they are not managing very well. Not like a ETF. ETF, at least they are giving certain benefits to the members. But EPF, they are not giving a very minimum. I think they are giving some benefits to the members. at the last, after 55 years age, once you want to withdraw the money, you can get the lump sum with a certain interest rate. That is what EPF mean in Sri Lanka. Some other countries, similar kind of funds like EPF, they are giving more benefit to the society or members. But here we have only the benefits we have at the last, at the end of the day, you are getting a certain money with the interest. But that is also now reduced to the 9%. Right? Now, how they manage in this EPF is questionable from my point of view. I always feel that there are some inefficiencies are going on of this managing EPF. My first aspect, right? Once the EPF get fund from the members, they have a huge money. Now, I assume that around 3.5 trillion of money, I think they have. They have a huge money. They are the people who manage in these funds, right? 96%, close to 97, I think they have invested to the treasury bills and treasury bonds. I think treasury bonds amount is around 3 trillion out of 9 trillion totally issued the T-bonds. 3 trillion, I think, coming under the EPF, other 6 trillions goes to the banks and other organizations in their hand. But this 3 trillion now, under the DDO's mechanism, they have reduced to the interest rate to the 9%, right? And the future, next 2 years, I think, because the reason is this, the income that in the EPF funds, you will get the monthly, you get the money, monthly you get the fund. That funding, the incoming funding is more than the outgoing. But after 55 years is a big age gap. Then people who are leaving, or people who are come to the 55, then the outgoing, that means cash outflow is a little less than the cash inflow. Even though this entire 3 trillion, 3.5 trillion is freeze, but the employees who are contributed to the EPF, once they get retirement, they can get their EPF, no issues. EPF money, nothing harmful. Once they are leaving the job, they will get, because income is more than the going out. But the problem is, my case, how do they manage the 3.5 trillion of this particular fund? Right, that fund management is the most important thing.
Sorry, Professor, but don't you find that there is really a conflict of interest? Because on the one hand, we have the central bank who sets the rates and so on and so forth. And on the other side, it is the same central bank that is managing the EPF funds. So isn't that a conflict of interest? Shouldn't the EPF, ETF be in the hands of a truly independent professional body, put in the hands of people who are completely full of integrity and who are outstanding, upstanding members of our society?
That is really, really true. I think it should be independent is much better. That is what very beginning I said. EPF is the largest fund in our country, but the members are getting very, very less benefits. I think only one time they have given the housing loan facilities for EPF members. But ETF is different. ETF, you have a lot of surgery kind of things, right? But that's small amount. But ETF is managing it differently. That is a good example, I think, what you said. ETF is differently managing. EPF is coming under the central bank. Now, what you said is exactly right. But the issue is this. Now, 3 trillion, right, treasury bonds coming under the EPF, another 6 trillion of treasury bonds in outside the EPF. But under the DDO system, we have reduced to the 9% interest rate on EPF money. The money invested in the treasury bonds in EPF, we have reduced to the 9%. But outside, still have a more than 20%. Outside people who banks and other people who bought the treasury bonds, they have a more than 20%. Still, they are fine. They are enjoyed. But the innocent people who work hard in the private sector and certain semi-government sector, they are the money, I think, in finally coming, liable to the this particular debt restructuring system. That is what I really feel injustice. I really feel injustice is really, it's not justifiable anyway, anyhow. The innocent people, they are responsible. This is called part of the neo capitalization or something like that. In economically, we can explain. But anyway, this is innocent. The other thing is, the banks. Usually, our government and private banks they're quite good, but we had some kind of a idea. The bank gets stuck and bank get out, or some problems about the banks and all, but nothing happened like that also, because they are still in the Basel mechanism. They are quite good, they have good standards. But the private banks, honestly speaking, they earn huge money. They earn highly profitable money. They are the people who buy and buy and purchase and sell all these treasury bonds, and that is borrowing and lending. I think they earn a lot. Nothing happened to them, right? You are not going to deduct their, because in the private banks, only one or two owners have more than 80% of the bank share capital. They have a huge money, and they have done a lot of bond market activities and earn a lot of profits and wealth maximize a lot, but nothing happened or reduced their funds, right? Ultimately, unnecessary. I don't know why. How do I say that's very injustice to the people who are working in the government sector and the private sector.
I hear you. I hear your point there, but also, isn't there a counter argument to say that the capital employed by the banks is also enormous, and therefore, when you look at the rate of return on their capital invested, then the numbers are big, but so is their investment. What do you have to say about that?
Now, I'm talking about the bank employees. They also coming under the EPF, ETF system. But I'm talking about owners of the banks, right? Owners, maybe shareholders, right? Especially the highest number of shareholders. I think most of the banks you can categorize under the one or few people categories. The profit is huge, right? Under this transaction from, in the bond market activities, I think mostly the banks and financial organization done. I think they sell and they buy, right? There's an interest rate is very high. I think in a couple of months ago or a couple of years ago. But that profit accumulated already. That profit is still there in their hands or in their accounts. When you go and see the all banks are highly profitable. So why we are not going to the few of such a money we are not going to reduce, and finally the huge amount responsible by the working people.
So would you espouse and promote a cause of some form of super gains tax on the banks? Because we had super gains tax there not too long ago. The Supreme Court also ruled that the government is within their rights to have different class levels of taxation. And so, would you espouse such a cause where the banks are subject to super gains tax?
Yeah, usually I think they pay tax. I understand that situation. When they have a profits or whatever the profits, huge profits they have accumulating, they have to pay the tax. That is the only benefits for the government and the community having. But still, you can recover certain money from the banking system without affecting to the economy, right? Without totally, because they already gained the money.
Yes.
My point is
that's
this:
what I'm saying.
you already gained the money from treasury bonds. Yeah, you already gained the money, your profit from treasury bonds, then you have to get from them also.
That's what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, on those special profits, like you say, let's call them whirlwind profits. We had the present president, when he was the prime minister during the Yapalana government, soon after they came in, they put in special one-off taxes they called it super gains tax.
We understand, yeah.
Would you promote such a cause in this economy right now?
Yes, exactly. That is necessary, I think, especially for the huge gains, what we have gained from the last couple of years or last couple of months, I think chargeable to the tax. That is a great for an economy, especially poor and the middle income earners are concerned, because we need the money. Otherwise, can't run the government.
And on that note, let's go for a quick break and take a peek at this evening's headline news from the Primetime News team. And we'll see you on the other side of the break. We are in conversation with Professor Kennedy Gunawardana. See you on the other side of the break.
News First, Newsline with Faraz Shaukat Ali on TV1.
Tourism industry would significantly contribute to the country's foreign exchange earnings in the coming decade, says President. Health workers protest, demanding solutions. Woman from Gaul dies due to substandard medicine. Why was the anti-corruption bill postponed? State Engineering Corporation workers demand salary arrears to be settled. Chairman held inside his office. Advanced level examination in December and ordinary level examination pushed to 2024. Gum at the Bill's electric fence for the Eriava village in Galgamua.
News First, Newsline with Faraz Shaukat Ali on TV1.
Welcome back to Newsline Zoom. I'm in conversation this evening with Professor Kennedy Gunawardana. And guess what? It's all about the economy and your pockets, which are getting less and less filled up. But Professor, you know, I see your point about taxing the banks on a one-off or super gains sort of basis. But that's maybe a one-off. What do we do to get our economy lean and mean? You know, we have state-owned enterprises. They don't seem to have any regard for your money and my money, the people's money. They just sit there and absolutely do almost nothing, accumulating losses by the day. They're not professional, and they don't seem to be accountable to anybody. I mean, look at Sri Lankan Airlines. Somebody said it's about $1 billion in debt. And we had one former CEO who told me on my program that it is not that much of a drain on the treasury. Hello, excuse me. They owe money to the state banks. They owe money to the CPC, and they owe money to the treasury. I remember when in Dr. Jayasundara's time, the government of Sri Lanka, the treasury, gave Sri Lankan Airlines a bond, 500 million. I mean, that was to prop up their books. But at the end of the day, it is the drain on the wider treasury, because the treasury represents the people's money. So what do we do? What do we do with these state-owned enterprises?
Yes, exactly what you said. I think the state-owned enterprises are wild elephant. I think we can't find the efficiency. I think last couple of decades, I think the day by day, I think they are in the bankruptcy level. I think the government funding to them, that's all taxation money. That is one of the reason I think the most important activities government cannot do, because the priorities they can't fulfill. I think it's better. I think not only the better, it must. I think we have to privatize, or maybe some other mechanism, or scale down, or privatize, or maybe merging with another organization. Now, just give examples. Some example in cement corporation, merging with another places, another companies running fairly good, right? There are some strategies definitely we want to take. Otherwise, we can't go ahead like this way, you know, always deducting EPF, ETF money, or maybe cut down the other expenditure, like very essential thing like education, and essential thing like the health. I think we should want to improve the healthy employees we need, and educated people we need. If we are going to reduce in such two aspects, I think again we are in the economically and the healthy wise, and maybe the knowledge wise, we are in another dangerous situation, another risky situation. Very, very important to find out the strategical movements or strategical mechanism to restructure those organizations. That's I fully agree with you.
And what would be the sort of strategy? Should the government sort of divest themselves of various assets? Because after all, the government has no business being in business. So what would you suggest that they do?
There are certain aspects of the business I think the government want to run. I'm not going to say 100% privatization. First of all, we want to identify the real function of the such organization. Real function, whether those functions are really necessary to the community or not. If it is not really necessary without involvement with the government, they can do the justice to the community or people in our country, no problem, we can privatize or we can go ahead. But in certain things, certain private, I'm not believing 100% private companies are, equitable or equity or maintain the equality in the society, because their main aim is to enhance their wealth maximization, enhance the profits. That is their one angle. But government not involved with that. Government also have a certain mechanism to control them, not 100%, release the, everything to them. There are certain mechanism need, but anyhow, we have to reduce utter profit. I think utter losses, what they have a huge losses, we are reducing that one at least to the break-even level. Otherwise, this can be another headache to the entire society.
What do you say about the strategy of encouraging private-public partnerships?
That is one strategy. Private-public partnership is a one strategy. Maybe you can merge or amalgamate with another international organization, like very serious, like in cement corporations happening with another country. That means the new technology also coming to us. With this technology, we can reduce the certain level of the cost. Therefore, I still believe that strategy may be a merge or maybe PPP or a merging with international organization, or maybe, but not just selling. I remember that somewhere else, I think after 1977, somewhere in 1980s, I remember that ceramic corporation in Nigambu, somewhere close to the Periyamulla, very close to my hometown, that was a huge asset. Finally, now it became a housing scheme. Now it's became that whole factories, you can't see any factory level, factory plant, nothing in that particular land. It's a housing scheme. That is the privatization really happened those days. I really believe that privatization is good, but within a certain profitable framework to the society.
When you're talking about these, and when you said that, with PPPs, perhaps they can tie up with international organizations, immediately my mind went back to the time of President Chandrika Kumaratunga, and they wanted to sell off the Sri Lanka Insurance Corporation. But President Kumaratunga, and there are cabinet papers to prove what I'm saying, President Kumaratunga was of the opinion that they need to find an international partner to take the insurance corporation to presumably a different level. But what happened? Eventually, in further court cases, it became obvious that this foreign partner that they were looking for was actually a company in Sri Lanka that was using a proxy nominee company based in Gibraltar. And then the Supreme Court of Sarata and Silva completely disbanded it, and they found fault with it. So we went backwards. And, the theory was good by President Kumaratunga to bring in an international partner. But the rest of the system was fixed, and as was found out by the Supreme Court much later. So, corruption even comes into policy.
That's true. Exactly. We need a good governance, I think. Good governance and law and regulations and all infrastructure system we have to maintain first. Then we have to go to the new things.
We've got about a minute. And what you've just said, I wanted to ask you, how essential is the transparency of public appointments. When somebody is chosen to represent the public, how essential is a strong, transparent system of those public appointments?
That's very, very essential. We should have to maintain the transparencies for every positions. I think even the clerk, if you get to the organization also, that means you do a lot of mechanism to check his feasibility, his family background, police reports and all. But in certain big positions, just appointing with a certain group of people without checking the entire process. I think the transparency and this getting feedback from everywhere, referencing, those are the good techniques, I think, what we want to implement to the society, because now in society is in a real bad situation. We are looking for new things. We want to do something. We want to protect the economy. We want to protect the society. Just the example, how many professors are leaving from the university? How many lecturers are leaving from the university? In my university, so many vacancies, still not filling, right? And the double, triple of the workload and quality also get affected. I think we need a solution for all these aspects are concerned.
Thank you very much, Professor Kennedy Gunawardana, Senior Professor on Accounting from the University of Sri Jayawardenepura. Thank you for being our guest on Newsline Zoom. It's now time for the primetime news. And not before, of course, I say thank you. Have a great evening as much as you can. And of course...
Thank you. Thank you for the Newsline, everybody. Thank you.
Newsfirst, Newsline with Faraz Shaukat Ali on TV1.